Some heroes wear scrubs, and sometimes their patients are only a few inches long. When this little patient finally stopped moving, one nurse got the giggles. A frightened little lizard, a somewhat compassionate nurse, and one moment that left the whole room in hysterics. This patient was the patient nobody saw coming. He had scales, he was ectothermic, meaning that they cannot generate their own body heat, and he had a heartbeat. On Nurses' Day and Red Cross's Day, we are reminded that the most vital compassion the world has ever known comes from these two organizations. Kudos to the Red Cross workers and to all the nurses who care. Red Cross kindness saves more than humans. When natural disasters strike, they are there with warm meals, clothing, and even diapers. They are also there for the pets, even the lizards. This diary is about the day a little lizard needed emergency care, but when the nurse gets the giggles, everything changes. Our title today is The Sick Lizard and a Giggling Nurse. Welcome to Dream Builders Diaries, building dreams one story at a time. I'm Jeannie Craft, and here at Dream Builders Diaries, we dive deep into the personal stories of entrepreneurs and artists, innovators, and everyday visionaries just like you. We believe that every dream starts with a story worth telling, and by sharing these stories, we aim to empower you to create your dream and the story behind it. But before we get started, grab a paper and a pencil if you don't already have one, because inspiration and dreams come and go very quickly. Jot yours down and don't let it get away. You'll never believe who came into the vet clinic needing emergency care. People were lined up in the vet's office with their cats and dogs, and then a tiny lizard arrived. How sick was he? Just after dinner one night, my son came up to tell me there was something wrong with one of the two lizards he holds prisoner in his room. He's just lying there on his back, he told me. I'm serious, Dad. Can you help? Not looking from behind my screen, I said, Did you ask your mom? She is the nurse around here, you know. She's busy. His deadpan serious side was the only visible emotion I could detect. I put my best lizard healer expression on my face and followed him into the bedroom. One of the little lizards was indeed lying on his back, looking very distressed. I immediately knew what to do. Honey, I called, come look at one of the lizards. Within seconds, my wife was standing over the small glass enclosure the lizards are imprisoned in. Oh my gosh, my wife exclaimed. She's having babies. What? My son demanded. But their names are Bert and Ernie, Mom, our son shrieked. As much as possible, I was equally outraged, if only by my facial expression. How can that be? I thought we said we didn't want them to reproduce, I said accusingly to my wife. Well, what do you want me to do? Post a sign in their cage? She inquired. I think she actually said that sarcastically. No, but you were supposed to get two boys, I reminded her in my loving, most sweet, calm husband voice while gritting my teeth. Yeah, Bert and Ernie, my son agreed, distress still evident in his voice. But it's just a little hard to tell on some guys, you know, she informed me, again with the sarcasm. But by now the rest of the family had gathered to see what was going on. I shrugged, deciding to make the best of it. Kids, this is going to be a wondrous experience, I announced. We're about to witness the miracle of birth. Oh, gross, they shrieked. One of my daughters, the one I least expect to basically marry and have children of her own, fled the room in horror. Well, isn't that just great? What are we going to do with a litter of tiny little lizard babies? My wife wanted to know. We all peered at the patient. After much struggling, what looked like a tiny little foot would appear briefly and vanishing a second later. We don't appear to be making much progress, I noted. It's breech, my wife whispered, horrified. Do something, Dad, my son urged. Okay, squeamishly. I reached in and grabbed the tiny foot when it appeared the next time, giving it a gentle tug. It disappeared. I tried several more times with all the same results. Should I call 911? My eldest daughter wanted to know. Maybe they could talk us through all of this trauma. You can see a pattern here with the females in my house, right? This is the daughter who would demand full medication when she has her brood of loud, funny, fun grandchildren for us. Let's get Ernie to the vet, I said grimly. As we drove to the vet, my son was holding his cage in his lap, and my daughter and my wife joined us for moral support. Breathe, Ernie, breathe, he urged. I don't think lizards do Lamaze, his mother noted to him. Women can be so cruel to their own young. Wow. Anyway, as we arrived at the vet, nothing much had changed. Occasionally the little pink tendril of flesh would appear and then disappear within seconds. We had to wait and we had to watch it a few more times before being called by a young assistant to bring Ernie behind the entry door at the vet's office. The nurse took Ernie back to the examining room and peered at the little animal through a magnifying glass. When the vet arrived, the magnifying glass was passed to him. We all leaned in. What do you think, Doc? A C-section? I suggested scientifically. Oh, very interesting, he murmured. Mr. and Mrs. Sharp, may I speak to you privately for a moment? I gulped, nodding for my son and my youngest daughter to step outside. The nurse opened the door, and my son, who was still visibly upset, took one more glance at his dear Ernie. He found and stood up. He found his way to stand up and found his way to the door. My daughter followed. Their mom gave that parental nod. You know, the one that means, take care of your little brother. As the door closed, they disappeared down the hallway back to the waiting room, and her arm was around her little brother. Is Ernie going to be okay? My wife asked. Oh, perfectly, the vet assured us. This lizard is not in labor. In fact, that's never ever going to happen. That is when I heard the first giggle from the nurse. Ernie is a boy. Another snicker. You see, Ernie is a young male, and occasionally, as they come into maturity, like most male species, they peals of laughter from her this time. They pleasure themselves, just the way he did lying on his back. And don't you know it, at that instant, as if on cue, Ernie rolled over and did his thing one more time. The vet blushed and glanced at my wife and the nurse, eyes as big as saucers. We were all silent, absorbing this. Until, so, my wife offered, giggling, so Ernie's just excited? The nurse and my wife were now not doing a great job holding back the giggles. Exactly, the vet replied, relieved that we understood. More silence. Then my vicious, cruel wife started to giggle, and giggle harder, and then she burst into full-fledged laughter, and the nurse joined her. What's so funny? I demanded, knowing but not believing that the woman I had married could commit the upcoming affront to my flawless manliness. Tears were now running down her face through shrieks of laughter. The nurse had turned away, holding back the laughs. It's just that I'm picturing you pulling on its teeny little, she gasped for more air, to bellow in laughter once more. With one more gasp, she said, You have to tell him. That's enough, I warned. We thanked the vet and hurriedly bundled the lizard and put him back in his cage, on all four of his feet. My wife gathered herself as the laughter had been replaced with spontaneous giggles. We went to retrieve our son and daughter from the waiting room, but only half of the giggles went with us. Once we were all back in the car, our son needed one more round of assurance that his beloved pet was going to be okay. Oh, yes, my voice trickled off. Our son was glad to know everything was going to be okay. I'll tell you a little bit more later, son. I know Ernie's really thankful for what you did, Dad, he told me. My son, the one who lives in gratitude and manipulation. Gotta love him. Oh, you have no idea, my wife agreed, collapsing with laughter. So here's the end result. 2 lizards, about $140. I recommend getting males. 1 cage, about $50. Lizard food, about $8 a week. Trip to the vet, $130. The memory of your husband pulling on a lizard's winky, well, That's priceless. Moral of the story, pay better attention in biology class. Lizards lay eggs. The smallest patient in the office ended up teaching everyone the biggest lesson about biology. No one expected a tiny lizard to become the reason an entire clinic stopped what they were doing. The story starts with a sick lizard, but ends with a reminder about what listening, compassion, and humor look like. So, to recap, what is your biggest takeaway from our diary today? And how does this diary relate to how you gather information, resources, and materials to bring your dream to life? And why this diary? Because this diary demonstrates the magic and secrets of compassion and patience and humor. Knowing a little more about your pet and how they reproduce could save some anguish, a bunch of cash, or simply just produce more laughter. I also tell you this diary because this powerful diary celebrates the virtues of endurance and courage and getting the giggles. Compassion changes everything, even for lizards. Check out the other diaries in the Dream Gather playlist. Dreamers, believe in yourselves. Be passionate, work smart, and know your why. Apply what you learn each day. As you ponder the source of your dream in this diary, I wish you well. I wish you an abundance of resources, knowledge, and wisdom with your time and your future success with your dream. Enjoy life and always be kind. I'm going to leave you with this quotation. Be brave enough to be bad at something new. John Acuff. Be brave enough to be bad at something new. Thanks, John Acuff. Special thanks to the Red Cross, all the nurses, and all those who take care of lizards. Special thanks to those of you who listen to Dream Builders Diaries regularly. I am grateful to you. The honor to spend time with you is all mine. So if you don't have it yet, get your 90-Day Dream Builders Diary by Jeannie Craft on Amazon. Like and share this diary. Subscribe for more stories. Contact us to tell yours. Thank you. And until next time, building dreams one story at a time.